Oh, hey. Welcome back to the channel. Technically, I'm on the run from the cops right now, so it's probably not a great time, but I can't always wait for a good time to do things that are worth doing. And you know, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. Like, look at this little guy. Isn't he so pretty? I bet he smells really good too. Yep, he sure does. God damn. Oh god, he smells so good! Yeah, I bet you like that, you murdering piece of garbage! Fuck off, you pigs! Ah, fuck! I didn't even kill that guy in the bar! His head just happened to explode! Fuck! You haven't even got a shred of evidence! They've actually got me dead to rights. It was on CCTV cameras, there's dozens of witnesses, fingerprints, the whole 9 yards. Fuck! Get off me! Today we're talking about weeb shit. Sometimes I feel like I've watched and played every type of thing that's ever come out. Every movie, every video game, every TV show, every anime, musical, play, short story, reenactment, docuseries, documentary, docu-sign, signpost, tangents on YouTube about the top 5 hottest Bloodborne girls. Number 2 will surprise you. Personally, I'm a fan of Suspicious Beggar, but beggars can't be choosers and all that. It's a fucking pun on beggars, get it? Fuck my throat. Oh, it hurts so much. I don't know what came over me. I just don't drink the blood in Yarnum, if you know what I mean. We've probably got about 15 minutes before I'm swarmed again. A common workaround for this saturation in the market problem is usually a form of escalation. How do we make people care about our new project? Well, this is our largest venture to date. This big baddie is 10 times stronger than the last one. Isn't that terrifying? Wow, this game is even longer and more expansive in every conceivable way. Give me $120, rub my prostate, beat me off, sell me your secondborn, and I'll throw in this chair I found. I say workaround because it's not really a solution. We've seen this a lot with recent Marvel movies, bigger and more bloated games, isekai anime. It's made watching and playing these new things so very existential? Nihilist, even. That feeling that nothing really matters and that all of this is meaningless. I don't actually care about exploring this world, or understanding these characters, or even if this fictitious world survives or not. It's more about the spectacle than the writing or the motivations and the world building, and so the stakes are kind of non-existent. And I imagine this is sort of what Frieren feels like in Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Frieren is an elf, one of the last of her kind, and she's notably lived for hundreds of years, slated to live hundreds to thousands more, and so for her, she comes across as very apathetic and despondent to a lot of human concepts. She feels like it's unnecessary to care about every single little thing that happens because regardless, it will have a minuscule effect on her and it's less effort to care, so why not just do that? During the runtime of Frieren, we see our heroine? Our Herobrine struggle with numerous concepts like creating and maintaining relationships, forming bonds, spending time, and so a major theme of this show is seeing Frieren come to understand the importance of caring even when it makes sense not to. And then we have Spike. A bored bounty hunter who's drifting from day to day, excited at the aspect of danger and acting aloof to the crises around him, flowing like water and looking death straight in the eyes and saying 98's version of fuck it we ball. But like Frieren, so many of Cowboy Bebop's episodes or major points in episodes feel like they're largely unnecessary to the story. So how did we get here? Why are all these shows so critically acclaimed? Let's say, for example, you're producing a new superhero movie, but you're a good producer. and not Harvey Weinstein, so you're focused on pitching this project to the studio and getting it greenlit, funded, and started. So how would you, in a pitch meeting where dozens of other projects are going to get presented and promptly discarded, pitch an enticing idea using a few concept pieces in just your words? If you were a sane person without a power complex and not, for example, let's say, trying to sexually extort people with your immense power in the monopolized media market, you might try and sell it using big action set pieces, godlike abilities, or touching moments of heroism in the epic finale. Frieren doesn't do this. Yeah, I mean, there's a big evil baddie, and he's called the Demon King. Ooh. And he's in charge of all the evilness in the world, ordering out massacres and genocides of races and species. Dude, he's dead before the anime even starts. In fact, we never really even see him. We don't see the battle, his abilities, how strong he is, how the party outwits him or overpowers him in the sheer force of the indomitable human, dwarf, corrupt priest spirit. None of that. We get a semi-naked Frieren for a few seconds. No epic fight scene with the Demon King. I mean, this anime is literally called Beyond Journey's End. It's as subtle as the writing in Madame Web. It's a show that begins after the end of the hero's journey. We're seeing characters reconcile with the passage of one's expected golden years and how one chooses to pass time has lived their life. Similarly, with Spike, we know he's a major player in a crime organization, being one of their strongest members before falling in love and being forced to fake his own death to escape his life, losing his beloved in the process. But we also see very little of that. The history that we do get in flashbacks also doesn't illuminate much, but we know that, like Frieren, Spike's story is incredibly interesting. Probably more interesting than an episode where he's high on mushrooms or fighting a mutant lobster pasta. Like, he's an impoverished bounty hunter who's heavily overqualified and underpaid for his craft, and he's surrounded by characters in the Bebop that have backstories that are worthy of their own shows with multiple seasons, and we don't see any of it. And this somehow works. But why? Well, they stop to smell the flowers. The year is 1985. No, wait, go back further than that. The year is sometime before 1985, and William Boyd Watterson II is working in a depressing, windowless basement designing grocery and car ads. It was a job that Watterson hated, and to cope with it, he would draw comic strips in his free hours, eventually getting picked up for a strip called The Doghouse, a comic which featured as a side character a young boy and a stuffed tiger. Calvin and Hobbes published its first strip in 1985 to rapid popularity. These comics were funny and sarcastic for children, of course, but they also explored concepts like environmentalism and philosophy. Watterson studied political science in school, and the influence can be seen in dozens and dozens of comics. And it's strips like those that stick with you. And as a kid, I didn't understand them. I just knew that when I came back to them as an adult, I would probably get it. So I'd move on to the ones where he's fighting a personified version of his dinner or swirling around in a toilet to avoid bath time, because the existentialism of death wasn't apparent to me yet. That, or I didn't know what careening meant. It could have been either or. I was a stupid kid. You know, I once shoved a soybean so far up my nose I had to go to the ER? Zero thoughts in that soybean-filled head. And it led to comics like this, wherein Calvin's complaining about his boredom looking for new activities to do. Hobbes responds by saying that sometimes in life, the point is to stop running around and just looking at things and thinking about things is the point of life. That by doing these things, you gain an understanding, a mindfulness, a different state of consciousness, reflecting on actions, on time, on yourself, and that this, in and of itself, is an activity, which you should do. You, specifically, Aaron, you fucking freak. Reflect on yourself. Stop watching furry smut and do your homework, dude. 13 years later, in 1998, Cowboy Bebop drops. An anime with no manga, a cowboy with no past, a cop with no purpose, a criminal with no memory, a girl with no home, a dog with no food in his bowl, a crew with no story. Except they do, right? They have a story. They have a history. Their character is running from the past, but we don't really learn that until the last quarter of the show, and even then, there isn't much explanation, only implications. So many of these episodes are about nothing. Before getting crucial episodes like Spike's backstory, we get the greatest game of chess ever played, Old Man versus Little Girl. Or we get Spike's battle against the 1998's version of Flynn Rider, except that he probably actually believes in the vaccine at least. But these episodes aren't bad. On the contrary, some of these episodes are better than the backstory episodes. Frieren also has a lot of episodes like this. A large chunk of the episodes have what feels like a 15-minute cold open, where the gang is solving some minute problem that's taking days or weeks or months, cleaning up garbage on some random beach, or deflowering an overgrown statue. Not that kind of deflowering. Hold on. Wait. Upon the first viewings of these shows, like those deeper Calvin and Hobbes panels, I could tell that there was something there. I just didn't know what it was yet. And as I watched these episodes after episodes, the pieces were stacking higher and higher, and like Danny DeVito, I get it. These shows aren't about nothing. They're about everything. We're literally stopping to smell the flowers. Not every episode has to count, which might feel like a stupid thing to say, but maybe that's what makes these feel so different. Maybe that's what makes them feel real. We are experiencing the passage of time with these characters, and the entire message is about how we're passing that time. They're not really shows in that sense, they're experiences. Real experiences that you and I face in a medium that's meant to be bombastic and action-packed. And yeah, these shows have moments like this, but it's in the quiet, where characters can, like Hobbes said, look around and wake up. And it makes these shows mean something. If all we're doing in these shows is sitting and waiting around for the next big set piece or space fight, we've missed the point. And so here we are, smelling the flowers, stacking the pieces of this tower higher and higher, and enjoying every second of it until they eventually fall. Grief is an interesting thing. It's a powerful depressant, an overwhelming presence, and these shows are far from the only pieces of fictional media that depict realistic showcases of grief, but it feels different here. It's not merely about a character in their lives dying or how they died. It's guilt, it's sorrow. It's a resentment of the self, one not easily forgiven. The tragedy isn't that I don't get to spend the rest of my life with this person whom I love anymore, it's that I regret not spending my time more wisely with and without them. I regret shutting myself off from the world. I regret running. I regret losing the person I once was. I regret not being more true to myself earlier on. There's this beautiful comic by Anna Laura featuring cute little monkeys, man! Cute monkey man! Ah! Cute little monkey man! Sorry, I really like monkeys. The comic shows a young monkey falling and getting hurt, and she realizes if she stops moving, she won't get hurt again. Except now, she's left out from playing with her other monkeys. Since she's not playing anymore, she goes home, and since she's home, she's removed herself from the environment of her friends altogether. She's hurt again, just in a different way. Everything has an opportunity cost. No free lunches, as it were. Spike's consistent nonchalance to the rest of the Bebop bites him later when Ed leaves. We see his inability to talk through his feelings. Instead, he wolfs down eggs, despite him and his friend both clearly hurting. We also see the space cowboy repeatedly emphasize that the past is not important to others, and yet he's clinging onto it the most. He's grieving his past mistakes and decisions and how he's elected to live his life, and it's torturous for him. Frieren choosing not to get close to the hero's party during their decade-long adventure together results in her grief at Himmel's death and how she chooses to close herself off. Again, grief is an interesting thing. A cruel mistress, maybe, but she provides an opportunity. She holds up a mirror to your previous decisions, asking if you're gonna let grief prevent you from trying again, loving again, doing again. You can easily preserve yourself from pain. It just means not living again. And it's only with this context of these characters stopping to smell the flowers is this grief all the more real. These are the moments where our characters are crafting a life to live differently. An opportunity to provide change in their lives and embrace grief. A chance to elevate themselves beyond what they thought was formerly possible, and to live life and focus on the journey instead of its destinations. These shows demonstrate the beauty of change, the importance of embracing a different and evolving personality. Every member of the Bebop goes through some kind of significant change by the end, and typically that's by confronting their pasts head on. Ed paves her own way, Faye, though she still has a lot of work to do, reconciles with losing her pre-cryogenic self, Jet is a black dog who finally lets go, and Spike confronts Vicious, and more importantly, his past self, the one he let die. And it's only when he embraces this that he seems happy no longer nonchalant. These characters could also arguably get many more sessions and even create longer, more drawn out narratives, more character pulled out of their personalities, but a part of what makes this show feel so realistic that sometimes time is not on your side. Frieren could have easily, like the little monkey, closed herself off entirely when Himmel died, fearing that she'd once again relive that pain when a close friend dies. After all, she's gonna outlive everyone she's close to again. She'll watch them go through every stage and year of their life before she even gets another wrinkle. But she takes on Fern and Stark, traveling with them, learning their quirks and personality traits, along with several other new members. And it's in these moments with other people that she finds a joy in her life that she couldn't comprehend before. The joy isn't in the sunrise, the joy is in spending time with those you care for in this fleeting moment, and it just happens to be the break of dawn. She could become an infinitely stronger mage if she decided to learn spells that create and destroy life, and if she traveled on her own, but she elects to learn spells that remove rust from bronze statues. Or she spends months learning a spell that can only bloom a specific type of flower because she remembered that that's what her friend loved. Notably, this is a trait that gets passed on Fern. Cowboy Bebop and Frieren depict such real characters and struggles, demonstrations of what real, living, breathing people feel like and act like, because so much of what happens is behind the scenes. Yeah, they're set in fantastical worlds with spells and flying elves, massive dragon fights, space battles, cartels, and whatever this is, but these shows also feel like the camera was turned on at random moments of their lives instead of just the most interesting moments. Sometimes we get glimpses into their interesting adventures, sometimes we get history, and sometimes we get silence. We get to witness in the quiet moments of their lives and adventures how these characters have grieved, changed, and stopped to appreciate life, to wash the dishes, as it were. I think these characters could very simply have been ashamed or embarrassed of these emotions, or found the value in remaining emotionally despondent, but through their grief, they've taken the opportunity to present change and focus on the journey. These shows are immeasurably important to me, and with how popular they are, I don't think I'm the only one. What's interesting about them could be talked about for hours and hours, and they're so similar in their themes, cross-referencing philosophy, the psychology of the self, grief, passing of time, and every other nuanced little topic in between, and we could happily do that. But I think if we sat here until the end of time, talking about their experiences, we'd be missing out on the point entirely. The greatest pieces of entertainment will leave you with something special. A message. So it's your turn to go out and do, to change, to evolve, to love and grieve, to be hurt and to hurt again, because to do these things is to live, and we could spend our lives avoiding these pains and these moments of contentions, only focusing on the destination, the future, and preserving it all, but we wouldn't be living. Don't yearn desperately for a life you want to live, just fucking live it now, because who knows? Maybe the flowers smell better than the view from the top. Maybe the rejection taught you more than the satisfaction of the win. Maybe the grief you feel now was just proof you loved, and is that so bad? Spike's learned his lesson. Frieren has too. The weight's been passed on to you, and it's your turn to make sure you're not running. So boys, take me in. Hold on, this isn't an admission of guilt. He still died of natural causes. I'm merely a person of interest in this case. Wait, don't fuck. Hold on, wait.